Hey everyone, welcome back to Dental Unfiltered. I'm Matt Brown. I'm here with my normal partner, Dr. Andrew Vallo. We have an awesome episode for you guys today. It's really exciting. Growth in itself is a challenge. Culture is always a challenge. This one is, how do you maintain culture through growth? Guys, this is the deal. At my company, I interview dentists every day that want to work with us and they want to use our service. And the first thing I ask them is, are you ready for stress and discomfort? Because we're a growth company, and they go, well, why there be stress and discomfort? I'm like, you're asking for growth. There's no growth without stress and discomfort. But one thing that happens through growth periods and practices is there's lots of change, lots of new humans coming in, lots of things changing, new patients, new staff, and culture, if not controlled and directed properly and with a plan to really maintain it, culture can change rapidly the wrong direction. You can have a great culture for 3 practices, you go to 6 or 7, and the culture goes bad, and you can't get that culture back. If you don't maintain this culture, guys, listen, if you're trying to go from 4 ops to 18 ops, you're trying to go from 2 practices to 5 practices. If you don't have a solid plan and a strategy for maintaining culture, and you think it'll just happen, when you get to 5 practices out of 2, that culture will go the wrong direction in a few of those practices. You can't get it back because you're not there on site, and it becomes a giant cancerous thorn in your side. So today's episode is really about, how do you maintain culture through growth? And I think Andrew's done a great job with his practices. The culture of those practices is all amazing. I've been there in person. I've seen it. I've touched it. I felt it. Andrew, what is the strategy you've used to maintain culture through growth and kind of protect that?
Thanks, Matt. Hey guys, this is really important stuff. And, I'll be honest, this is something I had kind of overlooked for a while as we were growing. And I think it did have a negative impact on our culture. Kind of the first point I want to make is that this applies to everyone, whether you're growing, a smaller single practice or you're growing a group. As you grow, as you add more team members, as there's more personalities, together, it becomes harder and harder to maintain that culture. So it was a lot easier when I had a small startup with 4 or 5 employees, than I do now with a group of 4 practices and 40. But even along the way, as we added team members, as we added practices, things got tougher and tougher. I guess one of the things that I realize is that if you are the dentist and you're in the practice practicing every day, seeing everybody, it's a little bit easier to maintain the culture, because especially if you're a strong leader, if you can go in there and you can inspire the team, I think that can really help. You can kind of help be the glue to keep everything together. If you start to step back, if you cut back clinically like I have to 1 day a week, if you add multiple practices, if your presence is never there, it is tougher and tougher to build and maintain that culture, throughout the offices. You've got to lean on your leaders. So you've really got to bring on, empower, and raise up great leaders that can kind of take your place, in maintaining that culture throughout the office. You've got to create a culture of positivity where team members build each other up instead of tear each other down. And there's some strategies around that. The other thing that I've realized is that when you have multi-locations, they can start to feel like they're parts of different organizations, even though you're all one organization. So that's something for us right now that we're focusing on, because we realized we've got 4 practices and the team members all feel like they work for a different company. So we're starting to create some different ways to get everybody together more often, both virtually and in person, to kind of create unity among our entire dental organization. So that's some of the cool stuff we're about to talk about here today.
It's funny. Leadership is the transfer of emotion, right? So it's like, if you're a natural leader and you're in the practice, right, you can transfer emotion to everyone for a good culture and it goes the right direction, right? But then when you start removing yourself, if you don't create mechanisms in place to deliberately transfer that emotion to your next round leaders that are below you, and for them to be able to do it down to the next round below them, then what happens is, when your emotion leaves, it creates a vacuum, and that vacuum gets filled by whoever starts to naturally stand up and fill that leadership role. And that person might not be who you actually intended. And that can really create some serious problems, right? So, leadership is the transfer of emotion. I think when you scale and do this, the question really becomes, have you created a real plan to recognize what leadership traits in you when you were a single practice created success. And now how are you going to execute delivering them, you know, kind of proxy through your other leaders and maintain those key elements? Like, can you look at yourself and say, startup one, everyone came to work, we high-fived, we had fun, it was great, I drove this. What elements of me did it? And now how do I in proxy give those elements and those tools to the leaders I'm going to leave in that position when I move on to grow the next practice, so that vacuum isn't created and becomes a black hole to suck the culture out of it?
Yeah. No, I think that's great, Matt. So, I think some actionable things that anyone listening can do. First of all, if you have not created core values for your organization, you should do that. And this is something you should share with your team. You should talk about frequently. You should recognize people for embodying those core values. So for us, our core values are teamwork, gratitude, and grit. And so basically, kind of our mantra with that is we're going to work together. We're going to be grateful for one another and our patients, and we're going to work really hard to complete the mission at all costs. So that is kind of our core values and what they mean, what they stand for us. I like to recognize our team members, at morning huddle as they exemplify those. But what I really like is, rather than me recognizing them, or rather than the office manager recognizing them, is them recognizing one another. So we created this system called love bombs. And basically what the love bombs are, and I stole this, I steal most things from other dentists, because why not create, or why recreate the wheel? So once I find things that I feel like are great ideas, I implement them and customize them to my own practices. And I don't remember who I got this from, but basically the love bombs, they're these little heart-shaped post-it notes that we order off Amazon or whatever. And whenever a team member sees another team member, embodying one of the core values, or just stepping up, to help out somebody else in time of need or whatever it is, they write them this little love bomb. And it says, like, hey, Judy, thank you so much for flipping that room when you saw that I was running behind. That meant so much. You're such a great team member, blah, 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 whatever. And then they sign it, who it's from. So then the way we like to start the morning huddles is with one of these love bombs. So whoever's running the morning huddle, typically the office managers, they will grab one of the love bombs, open it up, read it, and it kind of makes everyone feel nice, warm, and mushy inside. And, as kind of like a way to keep it fun and reward the team members, every once in a while at random, they say, hey, whichever love bomb I picked today, whoever wrote it and whoever it's addressed to are both going to get a gift card. And so then we'll have gift cards that they can kind of pick from. So it keeps the team excited, with the love bombs and everything else too. So I think that's a really great way to kind of start the day on a positive foot, and to help create a culture where everybody is recognizing each other in a positive light. I think another thing that, we have implemented for the morning huddles is we like to end the morning huddle by reading a positive Google review we got recently, or sharing a positive patient story or experience. So basically, like, hey, I know we work really hard, but don't forget, all of this hard work means a lot to our patients, and they're very appreciative of it, and all that stuff too. So I think that is something, no matter the size of your practice, whether you've got 3 employees or 30 employees, you can implement some positivity in the start of your day. And I think that is going to have a really nice effect on the culture of your office.
Well, I think it's, so I have I have a group of practices, another practice. They're somewhere in the Northeast region. The doc from one practice has an amazing culture. You know the doc. I can't say the name, so give away the other practices. But you know the doc. The guy's got 18 ops, does like 360 a month. The guy is just a killer. And while I was building that, he was associating over here this other group that works with us. And this other group is just everything I dealt with this company was toxic, man. And I talked to the other doc, and I was like, what's the deal? You worked over there. He's like, it's not a place you don't want to work, man. It's negative. Part of it is just protecting the environment from overall negativity, right? And sometimes you can be the source of it, right? Like the leader, guys, leadership and the culture is a transfer of emotion. If you don't realize the culture and leadership in your practice is a direct reflection of you, then you're blind. Like your organization's culture starts with you. If you approach accountability with like, I'm gonna hold you accountable, and that's me like putting a leash on you and making it work. Like that sucks, right? But if you approach someone doing something wrong and you don't say the word wrong, but you say something like, hey man, you did this 60% to perfect. Let's find the other 40% and let's invest in you and make you perfect. That's a different form of accountability. What Angela is talking about is creating a positive environment and fostering positivity, because happier people work harder and happier people work better and happier people give you higher quality work. If I'm miserable going through the motions of it, you're getting a bare minimum out of me. And if you have multiple of those people in your location, you better start looking at yourself in the mirror because you're the cause of it. I had a doc out in Midwest. She was a startup. She went through 17 staff members in the first 4 months. 17. She only had 4 positions in the practice. The practice completely replenished itself for staff multiple times in 4 months. And she's like, I don't understand where I am. She said this, my location, where I am, my geography, my county, my area, my city, there's no good help. And I was on the call there. I was like, man, do you think these people leave and there's bad employees everywhere? Or do you think you're a bad leader? And she was irate about it. But guys, you got to look at that. You have to look at yourself and realize that I'm the one fostering this culture. I am the beacon that projects this culture through the practice.
Yeah, I think you brought up some great points there, Matt. One of our main roles is like no negativity. So morning huddle, there's no room for negativity there. As part of a growing group, as I mentioned earlier, I realized that the offices just weren't connected. The team members felt like they were all on their own island. So we're trying to foster a group feeling between our entire organization. So we recently created a WhatsApp chat group, and we've got everyone from all the offices is in this group. And the only role of the entire group is everything that you send has to be positive. So there's not a place to vent or say negative things or anything like that. But we basically use it to share great reviews that we got, talk about just even like cool things that we're doing with our family on the weekend. I use it for like updates and, to give recognition, when offices do really cool things. And so we're trying to get more and more people active in this chat group. And again, I tell everybody, everyone's welcome to send anything they want in here. It's just got to be positive. So no negativity. Other things that we're starting to do is, I realize that we never have like full company-wide meetings. And 2, I typically don't really do meetings at all with offices that aren't my flagship office. So, we realized that I need to get a little bit more involved in some of these other offices, and I want everyone together. So we are having our first company-wide quarterly team meeting coming up here next week. That's everyone's going to be on Zoom. Some people will be live. I'll be at our flagship, and I'll probably try to do it live from different offices from time to time. We've also started implementing company-wide departmental meetings, also on Zoom. So we'll do hygiene meeting, with all of our hygienists from the different offices. We'll do our leadership meeting with all of our leaders from all the offices. We're implementing like a doctor dinner where all the doctors are going to get together. And then on top of that, we're also doing our first ever company-wide like summit day. So we blocked off an entire Friday. We're going to rent a conference room at a hotel. We're going to spend the morning having an in-person company-wide meeting. And then we're going to spend the afternoon doing something fun, which right now is a surprise for my team. So I'm not going to give it away just in case. I do think at least one of our doctors listens to this podcast, but not going to give it away quite yet. But we do have a really cool team building activity planned for the afternoon on that day. So I think by doing some of these things, it can really help create unity. If you've got a multi-location practices, you want everybody knowing that they're on the same team and that they're not competing against each other. Competition can be a good thing, but it's got to be in a positive light. And I think there was some kind of competition going on where people didn't really like each other or thought that, one office was my favorite. And I'm like, guys, I'm motivated for every single office to do exceptionally well. Why would I want one office to do better than another office? Things like that. So we're trying to get everybody together, just let everyone know, hey, we are one big dental family rather than, a group of smaller offices. And I think some of these things that we're already doing are already having a positive effect on our organization. Yeah. So I guess I have one last point I'll make and we can wrap up here. So guys, just kind of what we've talked about so far, I think morning huddles are huge. Positivity, no room for negativity and things like that. I think, if you've got a bigger office or a group of offices, having some kind of WhatsApp group or something like that where you can share positive experiences, patient reviews, things like that is big. I think team bonding, team building activities are really important, and having meetings outside the office are helpful. Um, the other thing that we're implementing is a quarterly uh, team member survey. So every quarter, these are going to go out and they're going to be able to give feedback on their leaders, their doctor, their office manager. They're also going to be able to give feedback just on the workplace environment in general, things that they think would improve, their experience coming to work every day. And we're going to take that feedback seriously there too. So we're really trying to become a company, an organization that puts our team members, our employees first. Obviously patients, first is really important too. But I think you have to have happy team members in order for them to take the best care of your patients. So,
Hey guys, this was a great episode. This is a really important subject. Hey guys, please hit like, hit subscribe. Please share the podcast. Me and Andrew do this because we really enjoy it. And please leave the reviews. We really enjoy the reviews, guys. Thank you. Have a great day.